You owe the IRS money that you do not have. And if you're anything like the people who call my office at Choice Tax Relief, you're not really doing much about it yet. You know you should, but you're not. The notices get tucked away in a drawer. Whenever you think about it, you feel a little knot in your stomach and it kind of gets heavier every month. And the longer you put it off, the bigger the whole thing feels. And you don't want to deal with it. Look, I get it, but I need you to hear this. It is fixable. Owing the IRS money you can't pay right now is one of the most common and most solvable problems out there, believe it or not. The IRS works it out with so many people every year, so many people who come to us at Choice Tax Relief. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what your options are. There are 4 of them. Okay, 4 of them, assuming you can't pay it all off right now. But first, let me knock out one of the fears that keeps a lot of people frozen in the first place. Because a lot of people quietly wonder this. A lot of people's minds go to like prison. But let me just be clear. You're not going to jail. You're not going to prison just because you can't afford to pay your taxes. Okay? Now, I want to be careful because willful failure to pay taxes is a crime. Okay? It's a misdemeanor. Tax evasion is a felony. Okay? But I'm assuming if you're watching this video, which is called What to Do If You Can't Pay Your Taxes, that you legitimately can't pay your taxes. You're not trying to hide things from the government. You legitimately can't pay. Okay? All right, let's think about who am I? My name is Logan Alec. I'm a CPA. I'm the owner of Choice Tax Relief. My team and I help people settle and resolve their tax debt with the IRS every single day. So like I said, over the next few minutes, I'm going to give you the 4 real options the IRS actually offers when you can't pay your taxes. There's payment plans, there's offer and compromise, there's CNC status, there's penalty abatement. Okay, those are the big ones, major ones. I'm gonna help you figure out which one fits your situation. Okay, and that last part matters because not everybody qualifies for all 4. Okay, but stick with me to the end because the biggest mistake isn't when people go for the wrong option; it's when they do nothing. Okay, that's even worse, right? Ideally, you go for the right option that's most appropriate for you. Get your best possible resolution with the IRS. Okay. Now, even if you try and fail, hey, oftentimes that's better than doing nothing at all and just being at the mercy of the IRS. Okay. All right. Step 1. Oh, my neck. Step 1. What not to do? Don't ignore it. Don't lie about it. Okay. Those are 2 no-nos. The IRS is slow, but it's not forgetful. Okay. And so when you ignore these notices, you don't make the debt go away. You just take yourself off the let's work something out track with the IRS and put yourself on the enforced collection track. And you don't want to be on that latter track. Okay, that's where the liens happen. That's where the levies happen. That's where the wage garnishments come from. That's the bank accounts being drained, Social Security being garnished, all those terrible things. Almost every horror story you've ever heard of someone with the IRS started with that somebody throwing those letters in a drawer and forgetting about them. Okay, but the flip side is just as true. The moment you engage, okay, even just to raise your hand and say, hey, I can't pay this right now. You put yourself back in that driver's seat. Believe it or not, you put yourself in the driver's seat. Some people think, oh, the IRS holds all the cards. No, you can drive the conversation. That's why people pay us at Choice Tax Relief, to drive the conversation with the IRS on their behalf, because they don't know how or don't want to learn how or don't have the time to, okay? And when you do that, you open the door to the options I'm going to talk about in this video. Which of those options is right or best for you depends on your situation, but you can't get to any of them until you engage. Okay. Now, before we get to the options, let's talk about what happens if you don't deal with this, right? Well, first thing that's going to happen is, well, actually, the thing that's happening right now is penalties and interest are accruing. Okay. Interest compounds daily. There's the failure to pay penalty, which is 0.5% per month or part of a month of the balance you owe to the IRS. It sucks, right? It's not going to double your balance overnight, but it can eventually. Okay, so that's going on right now as we speak. Secondly, these notices the IRS is getting you, they're going to get progressively more aggressive. They're going to escalate. The early ones are just, hey, you owe us some money, but eventually you get to the final notice, right? Let me pull one up on the screen, like an LT11 here, okay? Notice of intent to levy. That means the IRS intends to start taking your stuff to pay what you owe or they think you owe. Oh, but you do have some appeal rights here, this collection due process right to a hearing, okay? If you receive one of these LT11s, your back's kind of against the wall with the IRS. I made a video at the top of the screen about what to do if you got an LT11, okay? Because you're kind of at the end of your rope. So these notices get progressively more aggressive and nastier, okay? So that's what I'm trying to say. Now, also one thing that's running right now, and this is a thing that works in your favor, is that the IRS's collection statute of limitations is actually running right now, okay? That collection statute lasts 10 years from the date that the IRS assesses a tax against you, okay? And that can be extended by certain events called tolling events. Not going to get into that here. I've covered that in other videos. So this is a good thing, right? And as a matter of fact, some of the strategies that I'm going to talk about in this video have to do with using the IRS's CSID, the collection statute expiration date, against them, okay? Because they tend to get aggressive the closer you get to that date. Anyway, we're probably getting ahead of myself. Just want to mention that, okay? Now, those are just some of the consequences. I've actually got a whole separate video that goes deep on it, the consequences of not filing your taxes, okay? A link to that video at the top of the screen, right, if you want to check that out. All right, now let's talk about the 4 options, how you take control of this situation and advocate for yourself, okay? Or if you choose to pay somebody to advocate for you, what are the options they'll be looking at, pushing for on your behalf, right? Well, they're going to go for one or multiple of these options. The first one is the payment plan, okay, an installment agreement, right? You pay the IRS over time in monthly chunks instead of all at once. But here's what I really want you to understand, because this is where people leave money on the table. There is a difference between the kind of payment plan the IRS wants to put you on, okay, where they squeeze the biggest monthly payment they can out of you. And then there's the payment plan that actually works for your life, one that's structured around what you can generally afford and hopefully structured around your collection statute expiration date, okay? So stay with me here. Now, if you can prove to the IRS that what you can afford to pay them every month is low enough, you may qualify for what's called a partial payment installment agreement, a PPIA, where you pay an affordable amount every month, but because that 10-year collection clock is running the whole time, some of your tax debt might actually fall off and never get paid off at all because the amount you're paying every month is too low to pay it all off before that 10-year deadline hits. Same IRS, same debt. They're both payment plans, very different outcome depending on how the plan is set up and how hard you advocate for yourself. Now, if you like the idea of that PPIA, partial payment installment agreement, where you end up not paying everything back to the IRS, I made a video about those too. Link to that video at the top of the screen. Now, let's talk about the next one, okay? It's called the offer in compromise, okay? Sometimes people, it's really more of an offer to compromise, kind of meet in the middle, right? Or meet not the full way to settle your tax debt for less than you owe, okay? And this is the one that many people have seen on late night TV and heard the ads about on the radio. The settling your tax debt for less than you owe. Is it a real thing? Yes, it's a real thing. Okay, offer and compromise program is real. It's been around for a long time. But let me give it to you straight, because a lot of the ads oversell it, to be quite honest. If you call a lot of these big tax relief companies, they're going to oversell you on it. Okay? And I think arguably some of them are just complete scammers. Okay? Now, an offer in compromise is the IRS agreeing to accept less than you owe in satisfaction of your full balance. Why would they do that? They do that if it's still in the government's best interest because they believe that that's all they're going to be able to collect from you. Okay? Reasonably. So the key phrase is reasonable collection potential. If you're going to do a doubtless collectability offer in compromise, which is the most common kind of offer in compromise people submit, and the one that's most commonly accepted by the IRS, You have to at least offer your reasonable collection potential, okay? The IRS looks at your assets as well as your monthly disposable income and asks, okay, based on these figures here, what can we actually collect from this person? Okay, like if you've ever looked at a 433 AOIC, all right, this is one of the forms you have to submit along with an offer in compromise, right? You fill out all this financial information, and then look what they're doing, okay? So they talk about the total from box F here, right? What's box F? It's right here, your monthly disposable income, right? Your income less your necessary living expenses for your household is your remaining monthly income. They look at that. They multiply it by either 12 or 24, depending on how soon you can pay off your offer in full to the IRS. And then they add that, okay, to your assets, the total available assets for box A and box B if applicable, right? So if we go up to box A here, sorry, I went too far. Available individual equity and assets, right? And if you have like business assets, that's there too, assets. So they're looking at what? You're looking at your box F, your disposable income, and your assets to figure out what your reasonable collection potential is. Okay, that's how that works. I actually did a whole video on how the offer and compromise formula works. Link to that video at the top of the screen. Now, here's where I want to push back at it, because there's two extremes with the offer and compromise, okay? One extreme is the one hawked by shady tax relief companies. Oh, everyone can get an offer and compromise. We're going to submit an offer and settle you out for blah, 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 right? It's a bunch of BS. The other extreme, and I've heard this from folks like Dave Ramsey, is the extreme that, oh, you can't qualify for an offer and compromise unless you're like a pauper. Actually, let me pull it up. All right, here we go, baby. Here we go. Here we go, Davey.
Like as a hardship?
Yep. When do they approve an offer in compromise to take your $100,000 debt and allow you to pay $20 instead? Okay?
Well, you'd have to prove that.
You have nothing.
Yeah.
No income, no potential for income, no assets, no house, no car, no money. You are you have to prove what they call pauper status.
Wow.
You know,
Poor people.
That's not a technical term, paupers.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be homeless, basically, penniless, and then they will approve a compromise.
All right, I'll pause it there. Look, it's all relative, folks. Okay, just because you have some equity in your home, just because you've got a retirement account, just because you earn a decent income, doesn't mean you're automatically disqualified from offer and compromise, right? Now, if you have all those things and you only have like $10,000 in tax debt, you're probably not going to qualify for an offer on $10,000. If you have $1 million in tax debt, that's a different story. Okay. Now, I did an offer and compromise success story video, link at the top of the screen, to a guy who got an offer and compromise for settling his $89,000 tax debt down to like $2,000. Dude made over $200,000 a year. Okay, good money. I made another video about this. I probably can't link to it because I'm at my max, but Charlie Sheen, Hollywood actor Charlie Sheen, makes a lot of money. Even though it's kind of fallen out of favor, he's still got a ton of money, ton of houses, house in Mexico, house in Beverly Hills, blah, blah, blah. He got an offer and compromise approved, right? To settle like $7 million for like $4 million or $3 or $4 million. Okay, I made a video about that too. Just put in YouTube, Charlie Sheen offer and compromise. It's possible. Okay, you don't need pauper status necessarily. Okay. Now, I made a ton of offer. I have a whole playlist on my channel about offer and compromise. You can check that out. Just want to give a high-level overview here. Next option, currently not collectible status. Okay, currently not collectible status. I'm going to go faster because this video is getting long. Here's the idea. If you can prove to the IRS that paying them anything right now is going to cause you economic hardship due to your financial condition, then and you prove that to them, then they can't make you pay them and they can't garnish you. They can't levy you. Okay. So that's called C&C or hardship status. Okay. It can be just as good as an offer and compromise because you pay nothing to the IRS, and if you stay in that status until that collection statute drops off, you'll wound up paying the IRS nothing on your tax debt, You don't have to worry about it anymore. Okay? Yes, I made tons of videos about CNC status. I'll put a link to one of them in the description below. Okay? Next one is penalty abatement. Okay? That's just getting the IRS to remove penalties from your balance. Okay? Because a big chunk of what you owe, like I kind of alluded to earlier, might not be the underlying tax debt itself. It might be all these penalties that they've layered on. Okay? And the IRS will actually weigh them in a couple situations. The first is called reasonable cause. This is where you prove to the IRS that there's a good reason why you didn't pay your taxes on time and or file your taxes on time. Okay? Then there's first time abatements, which is where if you've been a good taxpayer for the last few years, but this year you kind of messed up, they might forgive this year's penalties. Now that first time abatement, they're going to make it more automatic now. I made a video about that, and they're changing the name of it. I made a video about it. Link to that video in the description below. Okay? Now, which of these is right for you? 4 options. How do you pick? Okay, how do you pick? Now, if you really can't afford to pay the IRS anything right now, and you don't have any assets, you might qualify for an offer of compromise. Okay? If you can't afford to pay the IRS anything right now, but you have like equity in your home, but you can't borrow against it anyway, because that's kind of a big one, maybe consider CNC. If you can afford to pay the IRS a little bit right now, but definitely not as much as they want if you just ask them, hey, man, what do you want every month? You might qualify for a PPIA. Okay? And if any of those fact patterns, reasonable cause, or first time abatement I talked about apply to you, you might qualify for penalty abatement. Now, if you don't qualify, for any of these things, or if you do qualify for penalty abatement but none of the others, you may still qualify for an installment agreement that is a lower payment than what the IRS is initially looking for from you. Okay? And for a lot of people, the right answer is a combination. Get your penalties abated, then go on an installment agreement for the rest, right? Or, if you're under threat of levy or something, get hardship, get CNC now, and then maybe go for the finality of an offer and compromise, okay? Matching your specific situation to the right strategy, that's the whole game here. Not just filling out forms and hoping what sticks, right? That's the whole point of my business, Choice Tax Relief, okay? By the way, if you owe the IRS at least $10,000 in back taxes, or your state, yes, we do state representation as well, you qualify for a free consultation with us here at Choice Tax Relief. Give us a call, 866-8000-TAX. That's 866-8000-829. Or you can use a link in the description below to book your free consultation with us. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I have some other videos here on the left-hand side of the screen that go in much more detail about some of the things I've spoken to you about in this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.